Okay, welcome into Rob Schmitt Tonight. I'm Bob Brooks. Rob has the night off. Thank you so much for tuning in. Obviously, there are a lot of issues right now, big in our country, in the media cycle: affordability, fixing health care, illegal immigration, and aliens stealing all of our tax money. All important things we're going to talk about later tonight. While the president takes on those monumental tasks, there's another task he's taken on and taken the initiative to start combating, and that is everything encompassing the Western Hemisphere and repositioning the United States to once again be the dominant force on our side of the globe. Kind of crazy we even got to talk about this tonight, that it happened, but it has. The country of Venezuela, that's front and center in all this. That's the beginning of this. The wars on drugs, extremely important. I'd go ahead and say at this point, just about every single American family, we have been impacted by drugs. My family has. Many families have been impacted by illegal migrant crime. We know the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua was sent to our country thanks to Democrats opening up the border. And then they started doing what gangs do, that is crime. That's what a gang does. This is what the White House says about them. Tren de Aragua, a designated foreign terrorist organization with thousands of members, many of whom who have unlawfully infiltrated the United States, are conducting irregular warfare and undertaking hostile actions against the United States. That's what they came here to do. TDA operates in conjunction with the Cartel de las Soles, the Nicolas Maduro regime-sponsored narco-terrorism enterprise based in Venezuela. So we know President Trump has surrounded Venezuela in the Caribbean. We've been blowing up their drug-running boats, killing the drug runners, thank God. Does anyone care about that or how the administration decides to do it? I don't. I'm talking about the strikes ordered to wipe them out that Democrats on Capitol Hill have been trying to make a big deal about, like Americans actually care, saying things like this.
He is basically killing and bombing boats.
That video shows, if you don't have the broader context, an attack on shipwrecked sailors. This is not Pablo Escobar out there on a boat. These are guys that probably didn't have a lot of economic opportunity.
Two hopeless men clinging to debris, radioing for a rescue, hardly means they're in the fight.
Hopeless men on a boat full of drugs. The drug dealers are dead. Like I said, I'm glad. I'm sure you are all as well. Yesterday, our forces seized a Venezuelan oil tanker trying to evade sanctions and making money for Nicolas Maduro. Here was Caroline Levitt earlier on that.
The president has taken a new approach that has not been taken by any administration for quite some time to actually focus on what's going on in our own backyard. The Department of Justice requested and was approved for a warrant to seize a vessel because it's a sanctioned shadow vessel known for carrying black market sanctioned oil to the IRGC. The president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy.
I think it's great. Kind of feels like we're back. Stop the flow of money to the Maduro regime. And speaking of money, we put a bounty on his head, $50 million, right? Our military is flying fighter jets closer and closer to the Venezuelan coast. President Trump and his administration are really making it hard for Venezuela, a country that is run by a dictator, doesn't have real democracy, sent gangs into our country, which became your neighbors, ships drugs into our country, continue on doing business as usual. Really tough for them right now. And you know what else Venezuela is? It's close to us. It's in our hemisphere. And we used to be friendly. In fact, we were great allies once upon a time, and that would make sense. A country full of resources and potential and a quick plane ride away, and you're there. But that all changed once socialism or communism or woke, whatever the hell you want to call it, seeped its way into their system, and now we are where we are. And President Trump, I believe, is trying to change that. It's about the drugs, the gangs, the corruption that has come into our country, but it's also about reestablishing the pecking order in the Western Hemisphere. Because while bureaucrats were in Washington asleep at the wheel for decades, guess who took advantage? It was China. China is now the South America leading trade partner and #2 for Latin America as a whole. China's Belt and Road Initiative has funneled considerable investments into mining, agriculture, and infrastructure projects throughout Latin America. Beijing has also opened up multiple lines of credit for countries in the region. Venezuela, the largest borrower, they're all in debt to China. Those were quotes from an article in Foreign Policy in Focus. It was released yesterday. It's a very good read. It breaks down the strategy behind what President Trump is setting us up for in our own backyard. Think about that, which clearly our biggest economic adversary, China, has now begun to dominate. And this is what they write. It's not just Maduro. Trump is putting similar pressures on other Latin American leaders. He started by pushing Panama to withdraw from China's Belt and Road Initiative. More recently, he's been focusing his attention on Argentina, which is China's second largest trade partner in the region after Brazil. Look, I commend the president for what he's doing. I don't think we've seen a commander-in-chief move like this in a long time, maybe ever, with strength and force and reminding us, U.S. citizens and the world, we have to dominate our own hemisphere. And I know there are many domestic issues that are all important, but Trump's international work is as well, and it's critical work. None of that more important than making sure we are safe and we are the superpower in our own part of the globe. You know, when I read that article, I wondered, how could that be? Possibly, how could that be? How in the world have we let it get to the point to where our neighbors to the south, closest to us, now do more business with China, who's across the Pacific Ocean? In this case, I'm reminded of another soundbite from the president.
We had stupid people running this country, really stupid people. And I think probably you had some stupid ones and you had some smart ones, but they were bad people too. Mexico and Canada have taken advantage of the United States, like just about every other country, in all fairness. If it's not them, I'm not blaming them. But every country, because we had stupid people running our country.
Yeah, and he's right, we did. And a lot of it makes sense also when half or so of the politicians in this country are worried about, here, I'll list some things, making sure men can play in women's sports, our kids learn about 60 different genders, having an open border, being soft on crime, making sure we protect drug runners on boats bringing poison into our country. Oh, and I don't want to forget not hurting anyone's feelings. We know the left hates that. The list, it goes on, and guess what? You fall behind. And other countries that aren't worried about woke BS will start to take things over, and that is what has now happened. The president seriously has a giant mess to clean up on the economy, with immigration, so many things. Look at what has happened with Minnesota, the Somali fraud, and so many other issues. But he also has a mess to clean up on the world stage. Most of it a new mess created by the current Democrat Party. Think about this. Kamala Harris hasn't rolled out running for president. She was part of the administration, second in charge, that created the affordability crisis, the record inflation. When President Trump talks about that hoax, the hoax is tying any of the financial issues this country now faces to him. That is the hoax. He handed them a 1.4% inflation rate. That is incredible. It's fantastic. And Democrats' credibility, I think, on the economy, in my book, it's shot now. Rents and homes, they're all crazy expensive, right? That's the biggest issue for millions of people. You can thank Democrats for that one. The worst case housing needs report by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, it came out this week. This is what it says. This is hard to believe, but this is true. In California and New York, immigrants have accounted for 100% of all rental growth, while nationally, the foreign-born population accounted for more than 60% of the growth in rental demand. Yes, rent and home prices and why they are so high now is a result of the open border, Democrat policy. When you let 20 million people into the country, they got to live somewhere, right? Supply and demand, simple economics. But the president has also begun the process of cleaning up this mess on the world stage, like China, being the dominant economic force in South America. So much to do, only so much time, and he has only been the president for 10 months. So you think about that, and I think we need to keep that, the 10 months, put it all into perspective. Not a lot of time. Okay, Andres Martinez-Fernandez is Senior Policy Analyst for Latin America in the Heritage Foundation, Allison Center for National Security. He also joins us along with Ken Cuccinelli, former DHS Deputy Secretary. It's a pleasure to have you both. Andres, I'm going to start with you. I want to get right to Venezuela before we look at the bigger picture here. President Trump, we know he's ramped up the pressure on Maduro. Seized the oil tanker, Trump dishing out new sanctions on 3 of Maduro's nephews, 6 companies shipping Venezuelan oil. Here was the president earlier this week on that.
How far would you go to take Maduro out of office?
I don't want to say that,
But you want to see him out?
his days are numbered.
We also saw Nicolas Maduro last night. He was dancing. He does his own version of a Trump dance now. Andres, how are you reading everything?
Well, I think you're exactly right. What President Trump is doing is reasserting U.S. influence and protecting the American people from the threats within our own hemisphere. And clearly, he's rightly identified that this narco dictatorship in Venezuela is one of the top threats that we're facing. It has weaponized migration, narco trafficking, and political subterfuge against its neighbors and the American people. And it's not a regime whose existence is compatible with a safe and prosperous America and a stable Western Hemisphere. We're seeing a pressure brought to bear there that is unlike what we've seen previous governments, administrations do. And it's really starting to have an impact. And you see concern in Venezuela already from this regime, which is already so unstable.
Ken, your thoughts thus far on Venezuela and President Trump, how he's handling that?
Yeah, I would zero in on how these things reach well beyond Venezuela. So the drug boat hits, obviously, Venezuela is a launching point. The biggest drug cartels in the Western Hemisphere are in Mexico, though, and I can't imagine they watch these with a great deal of relish. And this is something that did not happen in the first Trump administration. The cartels, whether they were working out of Venezuela or Mexico, were not seriously challenged. That's, unfortunate, but that's clearly not the case in this second term. So that's point one. Point two is when you look at the seizure of the tanker, this was a tanker that was identified in the Biden administration as violating sanctions and providing funds to Iran and I believe Hezbollah. So look, this goes way beyond Venezuela, but it speaks to who Maduro's allies are and who he's helping prop up around the world. It is a mutual support system between Iran, Russia, China, Hezbollah, and Venezuela and others. So, those are other reasons and other impacts of the president's recent actions.
Well, that's just it. It shows, I think, a big picture of who is gaining traction in South America, not far away from us at all. So this all kind of makes sense here. I also want to talk about this. The Trump administration, just to remind everybody, we know up to 22 strikes on narco-terrorist boats. The administration pushing heavily. This is about stopping the drug flow into the country. But, gentlemen, as I laid out in the intro, China, the increasing presence in Latin America. Here's a little bit more of it. China, they've given tens of billions of dollars in loans. As we mentioned, they're big in trade now, investments in Venezuela. China, it grows. They need more energy, focusing more of their interest in Venezuelan oil. Just in August, they announced a 20-year oil production sharing contract. So how about that? So China's influence now, Andres, in South America. Talk about that.
Yeah, if I could,
it's very
just quickly, almost because it's funny. Sorry to jump in, but look, here they are entering into a 20-year oil contract in a country that nationalizes oil contracts. So I'll just stop at that. If that's their investment strategy, they're not going to do well for very long.
Yeah, Andres, take it away.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's very concerning, the presence that China has. It's not just that it's putting money into the region, it's that it's buying influence and even control of physical infrastructure that often has a dual military use. You see a megaport in Peru that is wholly controlled by China and is capable of receiving warships. It's the only deep water port there. You see also naval and space monitoring bases in South America and a presence around the Panama Canal. All of this is very concerning, particularly in the situation where there's a potential conflict directly with China, which will certainly look to its assets in our hemisphere to undermine the United States. So that's what President Trump recognizes, and he's confronting that very directly.
And he should. Yeah, I can't stress enough how important this is. In watching him move in the pieces of the puzzle here, that's exactly what he's doing, and it has to happen here. We also know he said the Colombian President Petro, he better watch out, too, because I know he said some stuff about the president he doesn't like. Got to leave it there. Andres Martinez-Fernandez, Ken Cuccinelli, gentlemen, thanks for coming on.
Good.
All right, coming up, the affordability crisis, right? So we're going to talk about it. The Democrats created it. The hoax is tying President Trump to it. He had nothing to do with it. Democrats have no room to talk whatsoever on it. More on it next.
You served your country with honor. Now get the benefits you've rightfully earned. Paul R. Lawrence has written the book every veteran should own, Veterans Benefits for You. This step-by-step guide breaks down what you need to know, from financial compensation and disabilities to information for dependents and parents. This book is a must-read for all servicemen and women. Get your free copy today with our special offer. Call the number on your screen or go online to order.
The Wall Street Journal said silver could be the trade of a decade.
Eric Sprott said $250 to $500 an ounce is entirely possible.
Gold recently surpassed its inflation-adjusted all-time high. Silver's inflation-adjusted all-time high is $209 an ounce.
And silver went up 1,300% from 1974 to 1980. Silver's got a lot of room to run.
Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 1-800-778-4156.
Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer nationwide. The only firm nationwide where you, the client, work directly with an owner. Home of the no-fee-for-life IRA. See how easy it is to protect your IRA with physical gold and silver.
Call now, 1-800-778-4156.
Hi, I'm Steve.
I'm Lee, and we live in North Pole, Alaska.
I was noticing my hearing was not so good, so I got hearing aids. My vision was not as good as it used to be. Got a change in prescription, but I was missing something for my brain. I saw a Prevagen commercial, and I thought that makes sense.
I observed the changes in Steve. I thought I should try that too.
After taking Prevagen, I just didn't have to work so hard.
Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years.
The largest single funder of Al-Shabaab, the terrorist organization in Somalia, are the Minnesota taxpayers. Hundreds of millions of dollars in daycare fraud. Money that is taken in that fraud, it doesn't stay here. Millions of dollars per month in cash are sent out the Minneapolis airport legally.
I saw suitcases filled with millions of dollars of cash, and the couriers were always Somali men traveling in pairs. And they got through the checkpoint.
Makes me sick, probably makes you sick too. Under Tim Wall's watch, Somali refugees have stolen at least $1 billion, it's estimated, in Minnesota. Their tax dollars meant to feed starving children, casually flying immense amounts of cash out of Minneapolis back to Somalia and into the coffers, as you heard, of the Al-Shabaab terrorist group. That's nice. CBS News, they report this. Luxury cars and private villas. See how Minnesota fraudsters spent millions intended for American-hungry children. Think about that. This is sick. The outlet obtained dozens of files and photos from the recent federal trial showing what these Somalis bought with the stolen money. Here we go. A stay in an overwater villa with a private pool at the Radisson Blu Resort in the Maldives. A lakefront property in Minnesota, a 2021 Porsche Macan, and a first-class ticket, many of them to Istanbul and Amsterdam. We know those aren't cheap. CBS News also published receipts showing wire transfers to China in East Africa and stacks of cash texted between the defendants. Southeast Minneapolis, near the University of Minnesota, it's known as Little Mogadishu, the Somali capital of America. The Daily Wire's Cabot Phillips visited the area last year for their documentary Inside Minnesota's Little Mogadishu and was warned by former Minnesota State Senator David Gather about the Somalis. They don't want to culturally assimilate.
Is there cultural assimilation happening in the community here?
That's part of the problem. Not enough of it. Some of these folks have come here and they've never held a pencil. Some folks we have to teach how to use the bathroom. They won't go on a field trip where Mozart's being played in the background without having a fit.
Why?
The music is, that Western music is not okay.
Used to be tough to get into this country, had to be somebody. And also, did you hear that? Apparently Somalis, they hate Mozart, Western music. They get very upset by it. Well, here's a thought. Maybe DHS should blast Mozart in the streets of Minneapolis. The Somalis, maybe they might self-deport. Why not? Similar tactic has worked against loiterers outside businesses in American cities.
Caged speakers surround the outside of certain Chicago Walgreens stores, blasting a loop of classical classics is played over and over to deter loitering.
That's the Speedway gas station on Shelton Avenue. It's blasting opera music around the clock 24/7.
A 7-Eleven owner in South Austin is blasting opera and classical music to try and keep people experiencing homelessness from gathering outside his store.
I remember when that happened, and maybe it could work in Little Mogadishu. Trump can deploy Mozart melodies to Minneapolis over a mega speaker. Self-deportations, they'd go through the roof by the new year. Just a thought. The senior editor for the Daily Wire, Cabot Phillips, he joins us now. Cabot, it's a pleasure to have you on. I'm kind of chuckling as I read through all this. It's not a laughing matter. It's sick. This is our money, Americans' money, meant for us. You think of what could be done with it and the help. But going back to the Al-Shabaab terror group. So tell us about Little Mogadishu. You went there, what that was like, and yeah, your experience there.
Well, I like your plan of blasting Mozart through the speakers, but the problem is the only speakers that are blasting anything in Little Mogadishu, they're blasting calls to prayer from mosques. That is what you hear when you walk around Little Mogadishu. Quite literally on every corner, you are hearing that coming out. And it's worth pointing out that this fraud that we've seen, it's over $1 billion in taxpayer dollars stolen by Somali migrants. That's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just what we know about. And there are three major components that I learned about in my research. First of all, there's this program, Feeding Our Future. This was meant to provide meals to at-risk children. Right. Turns out that $250 million went towards children that didn't actually exist, and all of this money was stolen and, like we mentioned in that piece, sent back to the Somali government. Then there's this autism fraud. So the Minnesota government offers fairly large payouts to nonprofits that work with autistic young people. So these Somali fraudulent nonprofits would go to parents in the community. They would tell them, hey, allow us to diagnose your perfectly healthy kid as autistic, and then we will give you a portion of the money that we get from the government. So now, get this, 1 in every 16 Somali children in Minneapolis has been diagnosed with autism. That is 100% higher than the national rate. And so many of those kids are perfectly fine, but it's a fraudulent thing to get millions of dollars from the government. And then the third element is housing. There was a nonprofit, a number of nonprofits that stole over $100 million to provide housing for disabled Americans. Again, they were not actually doing that. They were keeping the money. $1 billion in fraud. That's what they've stolen, just so we know about. For context, that is 10% of the entire GDP of Somalia. That's what that's equal to, about 10%. That is how much money we're talking about. It's not an exaggeration to say that Little Mogadishu in Minneapolis is the most corrupt town in America.
Yeah, and it's a failed society. It's a failed civilization over there. And then they've come over here. So what I want to talk about with you is, I feel like lawmakers in Minnesota, they had to know that there's no way because this went on for years and years, and these programs, like you mentioned, Feeding Our Future, you know, the initial amount that they were giving was like $20 million. Then it ballooned and ballooned and got bigger and bigger and bigger. Boy, something doesn't smell right with me on this one. I just believe that there are politicians in Minneapolis and Minnesota that probably knew about it and for whatever reason said nothing.
Well, there are now Democratic leaders in Minnesota who are throwing Governor Walz under the bus, saying he had to have known about this and it went on for so long. They're only doing that because they were also complicit, but they're only doing that because they realize the electoral consequences that are coming as a result of this. But of course, Governor Walz was aware of what was going on. But here's why he didn't take action sooner. Because he was one of the biggest purveyors of this lie that welcoming in tens of thousands of Somali migrants would enrich Minnesota, that their culture would make the state a better place. And he said, these migrants don't commit any crime. They are victims. We have to welcome them with open arms. So if then he were to turn around and let his state know, oh, actually, these are some of the worst criminals we've ever seen. They don't believe in human rights. They don't believe in American ideals. This was actually a mistake. If he does that, he's telling his state, I was wrong. I messed up here. And I think that's a big reason why he waited so long to actually do anything. And I think another big reason for that, and the reason it happened in Minnesota specifically, this is one of the deepest blue states, a state that has been very open about the fact that they have this Scandinavian-style, welfare system. And it's not surprising that when people come to the U.S., they're going to try and find a place that's going to give them as much free stuff as possible. 89% of Somali migrants in the state of Minnesota, families, 89% of Somali families are on some form of welfare. That is what we're dealing with. And it's happening in blue states that turn a blind eye to it. And it's happening there because they're incentivizing it and they're telling more people to come because they'll get them free stuff.
Yep. You are so right about all that. And the more we think about this, and I've thought about it, is, you know, it kind of is the redistribution of wealth in our country, right? You take Americans' money, you put it in these welfare programs, and then you got all these people ripping it off. That's their dream, though, right? They always talk, look at Zohran Mamdani, you know, free stuff for everybody, Marxism, communism, and in a roundabout way, they're kind of implementing that starting in Minnesota. Cabot Phillips, got to leave it there. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Okay, coming up, against President Trump's request, Indiana, their Senate, has decided not to pass its new congressional map. How about that? Jeopardizing the 2026 midterms. That's great. More next.
My name is Kringle, Kris Kringle.
It's a classic Christmas story. A kind elderly man becomes Macy's Santa. When he claims he's actually the real St. Nick, the holiday spirit goes on trial. Watch The Miracle on 34th Street.
You know the holidays are meant to be about family, laughter, and taking things slow. But when you're in pain, it's hard to enjoy any of it. I know because my back has made life difficult. But that's why I love the Signal Relief Patch. It's helped me enjoy the holidays again. Join the thousands who have experienced relief and get 30% off your Signal Relief Patch today. I've given this patch as a gift to friends, family, and even strangers I've seen in pain.
Signal Relief is truly giving me my happiness back.
The Signal Relief Patch puts pain on the back burner.
The Signal Relief Patch has been life-changing.
This is too good to be true. It's too easy.
In a recent study, over 85% of people felt relief, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. This patch was a game changer for me, and it can be for you too. Trust me, the patch works.
Invest in Ukraine now. Ukraine is rebuilding, innovating, and shaping the future. Because Ukraine is the potential. Kyivstar is Ukraine's leading digital operator. Invests in Ukraine's connectivity, entertainment, ride-hailing, healthcare, and innovation. It's time to think opportunity. It's time to think Ukraine now.
You've asked me that 3 times already.
I did? This is exactly how it started with Mom.
Worried about your brain health? Cerefolin Brain Wellness has a dual-action formula that slows cognitive decline while improving memory, focus, and concentration. Those taking Cerefolin Brain Wellness experienced a slower rate of brain shrinkage. Now also available without a prescription at cerefolin.com and Amazon.
It changed my mind.
Neurologist recommended Cerefolin Brain Wellness.
It's the Blue Compass RV annual Blue Tag clearance. Save over 40% on select new RVs during our largest sale of the year. Plus, every RV comes with a 1-year VIP membership to RV Complete, a $5,000 value. Visit us online or in store today.
Get the life back. Okay, we're good. He's breathing. Okay.
When I saw that Ethan was not breathing, I determined that I needed to use something to remove the obstruction from his airway.
It's very important for every household to have a life vest.
Everyone should have one in their home. Anything can happen at any moment.
I want my friends and family and people that I serve to know that we have this device to potentially save lives.
Protect your family. Go to lifevac.net.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-543-3822.
What kind of gift can $29 get you these days? It could send someone to their ancestral village and give them a taste of their heritage, from mom's side and dad's side. That's a big gift for a small price.
President Trump's term thus far, inflation has dropped to an average of just 2.7%. Real wages are finally on the rise again and on pace to increase to roughly $1,200 for the average American worker this year. The nationwide average for regular gas just fell to its lowest level in nearly 5 years. Average gas prices have now dipped below $3 per gallon in 37 states.
Okay, welcome back in. I'm Bob Brooks, filling in for Rob this evening. Well, that was the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt touting President Trump's economy. The goal being to get Americans back on track to economic prosperity, right? Affordability, probably and rightfully so, the biggest issue that led American voters back to President Trump. And I get it. America's way more expensive than it used to be. But I do believe there is a hoax when it comes to that. That is that President Trump and his administration had absolutely anything to do with it. They didn't. Democrats were the ones who passed the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that ushered in record inflation. The cost of living issues that people complain about happened because of Democrats. It did. That's a fact. And now I think we got to give President Trump some time to clean this mess up, right? I think we do. Take a look at some of the most expensive gas prices by state, for example. Hawaii, California, Oregon, big blue areas, it's expensive. The least expensive, red areas, red states, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas. You notice the trend, pretty obvious. Democrats are creating the affordability narrative and are connecting Republicans to it to win on a disaster that they created. Kind of messed up. Here's more from Caroline Leavitt hammering CNN's Caitlin Collins. Tried to push that narrative today. Here it was.
So we've covered the economy, but there's mixed signals in terms of what that looks like. But on
inflation is down from where it was.
It wasn't high under Biden. They're just saying it's not.
Well, nobody reported on it being high under Biden. My predecessor was standing at this podium, but now you want to ask me a lot of questions. Everything I'm telling you is the truth, backed by real factual data, and you just don't want to report on it because you want to push untrue narratives about the president.
No, that's exactly what they want to do. Mercedes Schlapp, senior fellow at American Conservative Union, joins us now. Mercedes, good to see you. It's a pleasure.
Great to see you. So where do we want to start on this? Look, I think that, you know, that you've seen that the left-wing media, CNN, all these, really, I mean, they were as Sleepy Joe during the whole entire Biden administration when the inflation was at 9% at one point and pretty much lingered at 5%, which created an enormous amount of stress on the American families. It is one of the reasons why Donald Trump won the last presidential election, is because the Democrats really created this unsustainable economy where, you know, people weren't getting jobs, manufacturing was decreasing. Basically, you talked about a loss of $2,900 in purchasing power for Americans, where the wages were simply not keeping up with the inflation. And now Donald Trump has come back, making sure, as he has focused on, not only on the border and fixing that problem, but having to fix Joe Biden's economic disaster.
Absolutely right. The border did create economic problems. You bring in 15, 20 million people into this country, things are going to happen. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, rents up, California, New York, 100% because of immigrants. I do want to be fair, though, to the people, Mercedes, suffering, okay? Wasn't President Trump's fault, not his administration. Things are expensive, though. So talk about his plan, the big, beautiful bill, and moving forward, when we might start seeing relief here. I know it's hard to get prices to come down. We got to outgrow this thing. We're being set up for that.
Well, we are already starting to see prices come down. I mean, when you're looking at the gas prices, which you had put up on the screen, I mean, back under Joe Biden, it was over $4 in states. You're in at least 4 states right now, Bob. You're talking about that there is, it's less than $2 a gallon, and it's ranging about that $2, 50 cents, 75 cents mark in most states. So we are seeing improvements. We are seeing prices coming down. The question will become, what people are feeling. Are they feeling the relief? How long is it going to take? And I think for President Trump, it's saying, look, I'm doing everything in my power to ensure that we can continue to reduce prices as quickly as we can and help those in need. I think that's what you're going to see President Trump continuing to do. I think it's so important for the president and his cabinet and his team to go out and sell the big, beautiful bill, talk about the tax relief, talk about the child tax credit, talk to them about how we're going to look to lower premiums when it comes to health care and ensure that the money is going directly to the American people and not to these big health insurance companies that are pocketing so much of the money and making huge profits. So I think as long as the president really continues to sell this message and talk about his successes and what he's been able to do in lowering prices, I think that's definitely a key part of ensuring that the American people understand you got to keep Republicans in power both in the House and the Senate as we're going into these midterm elections.
100%. I said in the monologue, their credibility is shot on affordability in this country. They brought it in. They ushered this in. Got to give the GOP some more time on this to set this ship right here. Mercedes Schlapp, thanks for coming on. Always a pleasure. Good to see you.
Thank you. Great to see you.
All right, folks, when we come back, Republicans in Indiana threaten to upend the midterm. How about this? After refusing to pass new congressional maps, a Republican state senator who supported it joins us next to talk about it. What a disappointment.
We're in a very holy time of the year. We think in terms of a deliverance.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time. This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I prayed for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
This Hanukkah, if you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgently needed gift of only $25 will help rush a food box packed full of life-saving essentials and includes everything they need to celebrate the miracle of the Hanukkah holiday. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
JB Smoove, what are you doing here?
I'm always here. I know what you're doing here, though.
A consumer cellular commercial. You know, we should get you signed up.
Aren't I too young?
We got deals for people over 50.
That sounds great. Sign me up. Make it happen, Teddy.
Right now, get your second month free. Call Consumer Cellular.
Now it's a great time to play Solitaire Grand Harvest and enjoy a new world of solitaire. Brr, a cold world. This Christmas, discover all the holiday fun with exciting features from Santa. Like our winter tournaments, festive mini-games, and challenging levels. Ever built a farm in the snow? 'Tis the season to turn classic into fantastic. So download Solitaire Grand Harvest for free and see for yourself.
They killed her brother. They shot her dog. And they took her hostage for 400 days and terrifying nights. They raped her. They put guns to her head. They starved her. These are the stories of Israeli women attacked by Hamas. If you are supporting Hamas and radicalized Palestinians, this is what you are supporting. Choose freedom, not terror.
Welcome back in. The Republican Party has a chance to really get ahead of the House of Representatives, right? It is there for the taking, like right in front of them. It's called redistricting, like Democrats have already done in many states around the country. But Republicans are doing what they do typically, and that is not taking advantage of having the opportunity. Why? Why do they do this? I don't know. Neither does President Trump.
It would have been nice. I think we would have picked up 2 seats if we did that. You had one gentleman, the head of the Senate, I guess, Bray, whatever his name is. I heard he was against it. I'll certainly support anybody that wants to go against it. There's no reason for doing that. And the Democrats do it to us, so I can't imagine that they do it.
So here it is. In the state of Indiana, their state Senate voted to reject their own party's redrawn congressional map. A major blow for President Trump, the GOP heading into the midterms in a 31-19 vote. 21 Republicans joined 10 Democrats against dismantling the 2 Democratic-held districts. The redrawn maps are now DOA, everybody, dead on arrival. State Senator Michael Young on the decision.
Today, by this decision, we've told the Democrat Party, continue to redistrict as you're doing. Take 5 more of our state congressmen away, because we're going to step down and step back. We're not going to play in the game that you play.
Advisors to President Trump and himself have said there will be primary challenges launched against every single Republican, in name only, who voted no to the bill. Indiana Senator Liz Brown joins us now. Liz, Senator, what in the world happened?
You know, I'm still processing. It was devastating. That's all I can say. I have never seen anything like it.
So I do want to bring this up here. We know that there is names being thrown around by President Trump, like former Republican Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels, Cam Savage. Maybe they work behind the scenes to try and get the party, the Republicans, not to redistrict. Is that any truth to that?
Well, you know, I came out probably in June or July, a positive, big, full-throated yes. So if they were, they didn't talk to me. But it has been incredibly disappointing and frustrating. And quite frankly, I'm still processing. It's devastating. I just cannot believe in a state that is so red, that has voted for Trump 3 times, with super majorities in the House and the Senate. We have 40 Republican senators and only 10 Democratic senators and a Republican governor, and the House passed it and we couldn't get it done.
I mean, real quick, Senator.
I can't explain it.
Yeah. I'm going to give you 20 seconds. Can you at all give us some insight to why the GOP in your state voted the way they did? A little bit more.
You know, I don't know who was in their ear telling them. I mean, some people just said, we don't need to do this. It'll all work itself out. I don't think they understand what this means, how thin our majority is. I don't know how they cannot understand that in Congress. Certainly was not a constitutional or legal issue. We're allowed to do it. Yeah. And to your point earlier in your remarks, the Democrats have been crushing us for years. And we finally poked our head out of the sand and realized we need to do this. Our voices are being lost. It should have been such an easy vote. Yeah, Democrats have done it in states. It just kind of flew under the radar. Of course, when the Republicans go to do it, you know, the media firestorm, here it comes. And yeah, it's happening. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. Senator Liz Brown, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, folks, coming up, Gavin Newsom. He wants to act like a tough guy, but he can't shed those California politics, right? How can he? He shaped a lot of it. I got the news from the left coming up. Don't miss it.
I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson.
Think of all the places that could expose you to identity theft and financial loss. It only takes one mistake at your bank, hospital, or employer for a criminal to gain access to your personal information. And if they do, you and your money are at risk.
I thought I'd be the last person on earth this would happen to.
It was devastating. $110,000 of my hard-earned money gone.
1 in 3 U.S. consumers have been a victim of identity theft. Are you willing to risk your financial future? With LifeLock, if your identity is compromised, we'll step in and fix it so you don't have to, guaranteed. Our dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialists handle your case from start to finish. They contact institutions on your behalf, dispute fraudulent charges, close compromised accounts, and even procure legal support, far beyond the capabilities of your bank or credit card company.
The bank didn't help me. The police department didn't help me. It was LifeLock who had my back on all this.
I was handled and taken care of. I didn't have to do anything.
In fact, we're so confident that restoration is guaranteed. Plus, LifeLock offers the $1 Million Protection Package with reimbursement up to $1 million for stolen funds, experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses, up to $3 million in total.
When I opened my mail and I had a check from LifeLock, I just started crying. They made me whole.
Act now to save 35% off an annual plan for your first year.
Your membership includes identity monitoring and alerts, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist, and the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package. Don't face identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock, the leader in identity theft protection. Call 1-800-649-0629 or visit lifelock.com/35save to save 35% on your first year. Call 1-800-649-0629.
It all started in 2022 when the Biden administration weaponized the U.S. dollar and imposed sanctions upon Russia. Central banks around the globe moved out of dollar-denominated assets and into gold. Jamie Dimon said gold could easily go to $5,000 or $10,000 an ounce. Gold recently surpassed its inflation-adjusted all-time high. Silver's inflation-adjusted all-time high is $209 an ounce. Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 1-800-778-4156.
Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer nationwide, home of the No Fee for Life IRA. See how easy it is to protect your IRA with physical gold and silver.
Call now, 1-800-778-4156.
Welcome back in. Time now for news from the left. It's going to take it out to California. The governor, Gavin Newsom, known for his weird hand gestures, right? His slick back hair. I'll give him that. He has good hair. Terrible politics. He loves acting like Mr. Tough Guy the Democrat Party needs for 2028. Just last week, Governor Newsom speaking at a New York Times summit where he crossed his legs like his life depended on it. Looked like he crushed you-know-what. Okay. Fast forward to this week. Newsom announcing his new book, Young Man in a Hurry, where he gets vulnerable, explaining his identity and belonging, along with the defining moments that got him into politics. Take a look.
This is not the book you'd expect me to write. It's a story about the people that for, well, better or worse, make us who we are, made me who I am. A lot of people look at me, the stark white shirt, the blue suit, and yeah, the gelled hair, and they think, oh, I know this guy. I know this guy better than I'd ever want to know him. I get it. It's a story about living between two worlds, one of wealth and privilege, and the other of more modest upbringing. And it's a book that I'm extraordinarily excited to share.
Okay, you see, he's desperate to make a connection with the blue-collar man and woman, and he wants to rid himself of all the California politics that he brings with him. Don't bite. He is California through and through. He wants to see the gender mutilation of children. Look at this.
I want to see trans kids. I have a trans godson. There's no governor that's signed more pro-trans legislation than I have, and no one has been a stronger advocate.
Okay, so if and when he comes to campaign in your state, remember, he wants to see more trans kids. That's insane. If Republicans are smart, they would put that soundbite on a loop and play it in ads over and over again in every single state in the country when the time comes. Curtis Houck, managing editor at Newsbusters. Bill D'Agostino, MRC senior research analyst. Great to see you both. Bill, Gavin Newsom wants more trans kids. According to him, he said it. What's going on?
Well, right now he's trying to shore up support with his own side. So he'll say whatever he needs to get support from his side. And as far as I can tell, I don't think we've had any nutty Democrat politicians say something like that yet. Similar things, but not that exact thing. So that's his. He gets to plant a flag in it now and then run as far away from it as he possibly can if he ever wins the nomination that he desperately hopes he will win in 2028, and probably deny that he ever said that. And just waffle on what his position on trans kids is, right? And the frustrating thing is that the media are going to help him every step of the way if he does manage to secure the nomination in 2028. They will never make him answer for that comment that we're talking about right now. It'll be like this conversation never happened.
So I wasn't wrong to say he was insane, just so we're clarifying that.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, all right.
No.
Want to get to this, Gavin Newsom and also his friend Tim Walz touting their masculinity just a few months ago.
This notion of toxicity and masculinity needs to be separated. And I think it's been conflated. And I think we're going to have to work on that a little bit.
I think some of us scare them. I think I scare them a little bit why they spend so much time on it.
I wanted to bring this back because it's so ridiculous here. I don't think anyone is scared of them, especially Elmer Fudd. Oh, I mean Governor Walz.
Yeah.
Scared of their policies, yes. I think a guy who wants to put tampons in boys' bathrooms is, yeah, that is actually scary. So he's also insane. Curtis?
While allowing Islamists to run roughshod over the state's welfare system. You know, like we'll respect their culture, but we can't respect anybody else's culture. This is also the guy who said, I hope we get good news sometime about President Trump, implying that he's hoping for good news that the president had passed away in his sleep or something. The media never covered that one either. About Gavin Newsom, you know, the Getty side, I mean, the idea that he was working class at all is an absolute farce. And the media, if they were also responsible and did cover this, they would call it the fact that just, a few months ago with, the late Charlie Kirk, he pointed out that, this thing with like trans kids in sports, this isn't great. He received some backlash, pretty seriously so, on the artist formerly known as MSNBC. So now, because we're getting close to 2026, another year closer to 2028, he's got to move back.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing here. I really don't see him working, though, in, the Rust Belt of America. They already tried that. It was Kamala Harris. She just happened to be a black woman. He's a white guy. All right, want to get to MSNBC, as mentioned. The reject Joy Reid, acting unhinged again. She shared a video that Christmas, the anthem Jingle Bells, was written to make fun of black people. Okay, so we got the video here. A man in a Christmas sweater and Santa hat near a plaque where the site of the man who wrote it is believed to have written that song. He takes off the hat, scowls at the plaque with the caption reading, "This is where a racist Confederate wrote Jingle Bells to make fun of black people." Okay, Bill. Jingle Bells is now racist, too.
Yeah, I don't know if a Confederate wrote it or not. I don't particularly care because I'm, normal. But it was certainly not to make fun of black people. Not everything is about Joy Reid. Certainly not everything is about black people. And look, she doesn't even care either. She just hates Christmas and she hates happiness.
It's also hating Christianity,
Joy, ironically enough.
Right? I mean, that is why we have Christmas. It's a Christian holiday. All right.
Right.
Got her on, guys. Curtis, Bill, good to see you both. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks so much.
All right, coming up, the Time Person of the Year has been announced, everybody, and it's not an actual person. How about that? Nothing, right? Nothing can be normal anymore. Just can't have an actual person. More on that next.
Closed captioning is brought to you by MagnaLife Pain Relieving Foot Cream to target neuropathy symptoms.
The stabbing, burning pain in your feet is real. Here's what real customers have to say about MagnaLife Pain Relieving Foot Cream, the only thing that works for my diabetic neuropathy.
Available in foot care and diabetic aisles.
I lost 110 pounds. You couldn't tell at all because of my excess skin. Sono Bello changed that in one visit.
Introducing the new Lift EX, the just one visit, total body transformation everyone is talking about.
I am super happy with my results.
I decided to give Sono Bello a try. Look at me, I have a silhouette. You can see my waist.
Lift EX is Sono Bello's breakthrough 360-degree body lift alternative. Our body contouring experts sculpt, tighten, and lift your stomach, waist, thighs, and backside, all in just one visit with less downtime.
Sono Bello targeted the areas diet exercise could not do. I found me again.
Sono Bello has over 50,000 five-star reviews, and Lift EX is exclusively available at Sono Bello, America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist. Book your free, personalized consultation today. Easy monthly plans make your best body more affordable than ever.
This year is my year thanks to Sono Bello.
Call Sono Bello for your free consultation today.
Radical jihadists are not done. Iran promises death to America. They've built sleeper terror cells in the U.S. They support terror groups out to destroy Israel, including Hamas, whose founding charter calls for Islam to dominate the world.
The young people have been educated to believe that the most sacred thing they do is stab a Christian in the heart.
The only democracy in the Middle East that supports religious freedom is Israel. Standing for freedom, not terror.
Douglas trusts Prevagen for his brain, and this is his story.
I'm Douglas, and I'm from Chicago. I was looking for something specifically for my brain. That's when I chose Prevagen. And the confidence I've received from Prevagen allows me to continue to do those things that I love. I have been taking Prevagen for more than 9 years, and it really works for me.
Prevagen has been the #1 selling brain supplement nationwide for over 10 years.
Check their new game day fit. Oh, snap! DirecTV got hot.
That's right. DirecTV is flexing with all those pro and college games at your fingertips. This ain't your dad's cable, son. It's couture.
Okay, thank you so much. I was about to say that. It's couture.
Invest in Ukraine now. Ukraine is rebuilding, innovating, and shaping the future. Because Ukraine is the potential. Kyivstar. is Ukraine's leading digital operator. Invests in Ukraine's connectivity, entertainment, ride-hailing, healthcare, and innovation. It's time to think opportunity. It's time to think Ukraine now.
Donate your car to today's veterans and help support Tunnel the Towers. The process is quick and simple, and the proceeds from your generous car donation will go to support the good work that T2T is doing throughout our community. Any car is accepted, running or not, and we will pick it up for free. Your car donation will help Tunnel the Towers to help our dedicated veterans and their families. So call 888-980-VETS or donate your car online at today'sveterans.org. Your car donation really does make a difference.
Hurry in for huge savings going on now at Motorhome Specialist, now with 2 locations. Shop and save on over 1,000 motorhomes, starting at $69,995, only at Motorhome Specialist, the #1 motorhome dealer in the world.
Okay, finally tonight, Time Magazine named their Person of the Year earlier, and it's not even really a person, okay? It's AI. Well, it's the architects of AI, to be exact. We hit the streets of New York earlier to get people's reactions. Many didn't even know this has happened because they probably don't read Time anymore. So we asked them, who should the Person of the Year actually be? And we got the reaction to who was chosen.
It probably was Trump.
Donald Trump, the president.
I'm thinking maybe like Pope because of the change.
Jessica Simpson. Baby Jones, me for Person of the Year.
It should be potentially the Kushners.
Or Trump, President Trump.
Donald Trump.
Definitely Trump. It's probably Person of the Year.
It's got to be Trump.
Jonathan Bailey from Wicked.
Is it AI?
You got it. It was the architects of AI.
Oh, great.
AI.
Oh, word. What? They picked wrong. We got to try it again.
AI?
Really?
Oh, wow, the beast.
The AI was the Person of the Year.
It was AI?
Got it.
AI.
Oh, but that's not. That's like saying it's you know, like not. It's not. Now I'm talking about Fugazi.
It wasn't Jessica Simpson. Oh my God. Oh no. AI, huh? Allen Iverson?
This is the cover, and it's like
on the beam.
Elon.
Oh God, like, but they're sitting on the beam. Do you know how iconic that is?
It actually makes sense. It's probably going to be the Time Person of the Year next year, too.
I agree with it. Definitely AI is going to change the world.
If you're using it just to do your daily life, like you need to use your brain.
I prefer human beings.
I hope AI takes over the world and rids this planet of the cancer that is human beings.
AI is taking over, and we have to get used to it, but it's not a person.
They're becoming God.
It's over already. Yeah. I'm surprised you're still here. I'm surprised it's not a robot.
AI is not iconic. It's just an icon. Is AI a person or not? Is AI people or not? That's actually brilliant.
I don't think AI is people. Not just to, go with Trump. The guy stopped 8 wars, might even be more. It was a pleasure. Thanks for watching tonight. Finnerty is next.